Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Israel Brief, brought to you by Lay of the Land. I'm Rolene Marks, your host, bringing you the top stories from Israel and surrounds every Monday to Thursday, right here and on YouTube at the Israel Brief, and we would love it if you click on the big red subscribe button. But without further ado, let's dive into those top stories, and it is with a very heavy heart that I'll bring you our first story. And it has been confirmed that the two that were on board and killed yesterday during a training exercise in the Negev have been identified as Major Itai Zaiden and Corporal Lihu Ben Bassa. The two were killed when their light aircraft crashed, and at the moment there are military investigations underway to determine whether or not this was pilot error or a technical fault. This is the first time an investigation of this kind has been carried out since 2008. And in the meantime, Israeli Air Force Chief Amikam Norkin has grounded all training flights. Our thoughts and our prayers are with the families of Major Zaiden and Corporal Ben Bassa, and it is our prayer that their memories will be blessed. It has been reported that at least 8 were killed last night during an alleged Israeli airstrike in Syria. It has been confirmed that all 8 are Iranian, or at least pro-Iranian forces that have been present in Syria. Now, the Israelis have appealed to the UN Security Council to do something about the increasing encroachment of Iran in Syrian territory and their propensity to either smuggle weapons to their proxies or to launch attacks on Israeli sovereignty. And our final story is one that is global. Today is the UN-designated International Day of the Elimination of Violence Against Women. It is a day set aside by the United Nations to highlight gender-based violence, and this year it is particularly poignant because of the growing coronavirus pandemic around the world. Now, in a report published today by the Women's International Zionist organization, WITSO, it has been noted that domestic violence has increased by about 300% during many of these lockdown phases. It is more often than not that women and children, and sometimes even men, are locked up with their abusers. And in the report, it has noted as well that hotlines and shelters are at capacity. Now, this is not a phenomenon that is unique to Israel. This is a global phenomenon. But one thing that Israel is doing is speaking very, very vocally on the issue of gender-based violence and what we can do to eliminate this. At least 20 women have been killed this year as a result of domestic violence. And speaking to many of my colleagues around the world, some of them feel that their countries would rather sweep this issue under the carpet or not talk about it or deal with it. And this is where Israel differs. And tonight, major buildings across the countries will light up in red for solidarity and to create awareness. And the UN have appealed to countries to raise awareness this year, especially because during this lockdown period, many women are stuck with their abusers and have no access to medical or psychological help. So wherever you are in the world, if you are a victim of domestic violence, please reach out, please speak to somebody, please seek shelter, and please raise your voices against this growing phenomenon. So those are the top stories making headlines, but don't forget you can check out our original content online at www.layoftheland.online. We're also on Facebook. You can find us at Lottle Site. Look out for our picture. We look like that. Give us a like, give us a follow, share our content, and invite your friends too as well. We're also on Twitter, and you can interact with us at Lay of the Land 5. That's at Lay of the Land with the digit 5. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So with the headlines for today, I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief, and we'll chat again tomorrow.